Donald Trump's approach to staffing his administration has often raised eyebrows, but recent revelations and legal developments have cast an even darker shadow over his choices. The former president, who himself has faced multiple legal challenges, seems intent on building a team riddled with individuals whose records include criminal convictions, legal controversies, and ethical questions. A closer look at Trump's appointees reveals a troubling trend, one that suggests his slogan could be better phrased as "Make America Felonious Again." Trump's legal woes. A starting point. Before delving into his team's records, it's essential to understand Trump's own legal battles. In 2024, Trump was convicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in connection with a hush money scheme. This was not just about financial mismanagement. It was about covering up payments made to silence damaging stories ahead of the 2016 election, effectively undermining the democratic process. This case underscores a pattern of behavior, bending the rules and using others as shields to protect his interests. A cabinet of convictions. Trump's penchant for surrounding himself with individuals who share a similar disregard for the law is glaring. Some of his cabinet picks and appointees have faced legal troubles ranging from lobbying violations to outright criminal convictions. Notable examples include 1. Michael Flynn, Trump's first national security advisor, pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his conversations with the Russian ambassador. Flynn's actions raised serious national security concerns and underscored the administration's murky ties to foreign governments. 2. Paul Manafort, Trump's campaign chairman, was convicted on multiple counts of financial fraud stemming from his work as a lobbyist for pro-Russian factions in Ukraine. His case became a central piece of the Mueller investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. 3. Roger Stone, a longtime Trump ally, Stone was convicted of obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and lying to Congress during investigations into Russian election interference. Stone's flamboyant defiance of the law epitomized the two-tiered justice system Trump often decries but seemingly benefits from. 4. Steve Bannon, a key architect of Trump's 2016 victory, Bannon was indicted for fraud in connection with a fundraising scheme to privately fund the construction of a border wall. While Trump pardoned Bannon in his final days in office, the charges underscored the grift often associated with Trump's inner circle. 5. Tom Barrack, a close Trump confidant and inaugural committee chair, Barrack was charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for the United Arab Emirates. His case highlighted concerns about the influence of foreign governments on Trump's administration. Echoes of January 6th. Beyond individual criminality, some Trump appointees played roles in broader efforts to undermine democracy. For example, former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark attempted to use his position to push baseless claims of election fraud. His actions culminated in a near coup within the Justice Department, which was only thwarted by the threat of mass resignations. Similarly, individuals like Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff, have faced scrutiny for their roles in the events leading up to and during the January 6th Capitol attack. Meadows' communications revealed a concerted effort to overturn the election results, further eroding public trust in democratic institutions. Trump's Orwellian spin. The selection of such individuals for high-ranking positions is often accompanied by rhetoric that seeks to distort reality. Trump and his allies frequently frame these appointments as part of an effort to drain the swamps or put America first. However, the reality often mirrors the dystopian vision of George Orwell's 1984, where truth is manipulated and the public is gaslit into believing lies. For instance, when cuts are made to public programs, they're spun as increases. When convicted felons are appointed, they're portrayed as patriots persecuted by a corrupt system. Trump's transition team, led by figures like Caroline Leavitt, has defended these choices, arguing that they reflect his mandate to implement the promises he made on the campaign trail. Yet, the promises often seem to prioritize loyalty to Trump over competence, integrity, or accountability. A pattern of pardons. Adding to the troubling narrative is Trump's use of the presidential pardon. Many of the individuals who faced legal consequences during or after their service in Trump's administration were granted clemency. This includes Michael Flynn, Roger Stone, and Steve Bannon, among others. These pardons were less about justice and more about rewarding loyalty, sending a clear message that allegiance to Trump outweighs adherence to the law. The implications for 2024 and beyond. As Trump eyes a potential return to the White House, his track record raises serious questions about the type of government he would assemble. If past his prologue, a second Trump administration could be even more rife with individuals whose primary qualification is their willingness to bend or break the law in service of Trump's agenda. This has profound implications not just for governance, but for the very fabric of American democracy. The normalization of criminality within Trump's orbit undermines the rule of law and erodes public trust in government institutions. It also creates a dangerous precedent. If leaders can operate with impunity and surround themselves with individuals who do the same, accountability becomes an empty concept. The phrase, "Make America Great Again," carries a certain irony when juxtaposed with the legal and ethical troubles of Trump and his appointees. A more accurate slogan might indeed be, "Make America Felonious Again," reflecting the troubling reality of an administration that prioritizes loyalty and self-interest over legality and public service. As voters consider Trump's bid for a second term, these issues deserve close scrutiny. The stakes are not just political but existential for the principles of democracy and the rule of law. The fall of the Trump era, legal troubles and pardon deals. Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, remains embroiled in multiple legal cases that have complicated his path back to the White House. As he gears up for the 2024 election, Trump's legal battles continue to escalate, with 4 major criminal indictments hanging over his campaign. These charges come from various incidents that span from his time in office to his personal business dealings. However, despite the weight of these accusations, some of these cases may be moving toward dismissal or are nearing their conclusion, raising questions about whether they will impact his campaign. The criminal indictments and allegations. Among the most prominent charges against Trump is one related to falsifying business records. This case stems from his involvement in a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels, who claims to have had an affair with Trump during the 2016 election campaign. In an attempt to cover up these allegations, Trump allegedly directed his organization to manipulate business records to hide the payment made through his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. This situation could lead to criminal charges if prosecutors can prove Trump's role in the scheme. In addition to this, Trump faces charges connected to his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. These charges, spread across 2 separate cases, one in federal court and another in Georgia, revolve around Trump's attempts to alter the outcome of the election. Specifically, prosecutors allege that Trump tried to coerce state officials to change vote totals, including the infamous phone call with Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. A third set of federal charges concerns the alleged mishandling of classified documents. Following his departure from the White House, Trump was found to have kept a significant number of classified materials, which are prohibited from being taken or stored outside secure government locations. This case has garnered significant attention, particularly as the investigation involves the high-stakes issue of national security. Despite these serious legal battles, there is a significant development. Special Counsel Jack Smith, who is leading the investigations into both the election interference and the mishandling of documents, is reportedly moving toward dismissing these cases. This could potentially signal a dramatic shift in the trajectory of Trump's legal troubles as he prepares for a potential return to the presidency in 2025. The civil cases and their consequences. In addition to criminal cases, Trump also faces civil lawsuits that further complicate his image. One of the most notable civil cases involved columnist Jean Carroll, who accused Trump of sexual assault. In a lawsuit filed in 2022, a jury found Trump liable for sexual battery and awarded Carroll damages. The case has been a major point of contention, with Trump continuing to deny the allegations and filing an appeal to overturn the verdict. Another high-profile civil case revolves around Trump's business practices. The New York Attorney General filed a lawsuit accusing Trump and his company of engaging in fraudulent business practices, specifically inflating the value of various properties to secure loans and reduce tax liabilities. This lawsuit has significant implications for Trump's real estate empire and could lead to further financial penalties or restrictions on his business dealings. These civil lawsuits present a different kind of challenge for Trump, as they directly impact his personal and business reputation. Unlike the criminal cases, which focus on alleged illegal actions, the civil cases primarily address accusations of misconduct that damage Trump's public image and trustworthiness. The pardons, a pattern of favoritism. One of the most controversial aspects of Trump's presidency was his use of pardons. Throughout his tenure, Trump pardoned a number of individuals with close ties to him, many of whom had criminal backgrounds that raised eyebrows. These pardons have been a source of ongoing criticism, particularly as some of these individuals had committed serious offenses, including fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. A notable example is Charles Kushner, the father of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and the founder of the real estate firm Kushner Companies. In the early 2000s, Charles Kushner was convicted of multiple charges, including tax evasion, making false statements to the Federal Election Commission, and attempting to retaliate against a cooperating witness by hiring a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law. After serving 14 months in prison, Charles Kushner was granted a pardon by Trump in 2020. This controversial decision raised significant questions about the integrity of Trump's pardoning process and whether it was being used to shield those close to him from legal accountability. Trump's pardon of Charles Kushner was followed by the appointment of his son-in-law to a key role in the Trump administration. Jared Kushner, who had no formal experience in diplomacy, was named as the U.S. ambassador to Israel, a position that has raised concerns about nepotism and conflicts of interest. The decision to pardon his father-in-law and subsequently elevate his son-in-law to such a prestigious role appeared to many as a classic example of Trump's pattern of favoritism toward his associates. Other key figures in Trump's circle. In addition to Charles Kushner, several other individuals connected to Trump's orbit have faced legal issues, further casting a shadow over his political career. Peter Navarro, a former White House trade advisor and staunch Trump loyalist, was convicted of contempt of Congress in 2022 for refusing to comply with a subpoena related to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. As part of the investigation into the Capitol riot, Navarro was accused of withholding documents and refusing to testify. Despite his conviction, Navarro continued to maintain his loyalty to Trump, and after serving his sentence, he received a warm reception from Republicans at the 2022 Republican National Convention. Another Trump associate embroiled in legal trouble is Tom Barrack, a longtime friend of the former president. Barrack was charged in 2021 for acting as an unregistered lobbyist for the United Arab Emirates, allegedly using his influence to further Emirati interests during Trump's presidency. Barrack was also accused of obstructing justice and lying to federal investigators. However, after a lengthy legal battle, Barrack was acquitted of all charges in 2022. Additionally, Linda McMahon, a former WWE executive and one of Trump's key allies, was appointed to head the Small Business Administration during his presidency. McMahon, who co-led Trump's transition team, has faced her own legal and reputational challenges. Recently, she and her husband, Vince McMahon, were named in a lawsuit accusing them of enabling sexual abuse by a WWE announcer in the 1980s. McMahon has denied the allegations, but the controversy has raised questions about her fitness for high office. The bigger picture, Trump's Make America Felonious Again campaign. The accumulation of legal cases, controversial pardons, and questionable appointments paints a troubling picture of the Trump era. Critics argue that Trump's decision to surround himself with individuals who have criminal backgrounds or legal entanglements reflects poorly on his leadership. The Make America Great Again slogan that was central to his 2016 campaign has been called into question, with some observers suggesting that it should be replaced with Make America Felonious Again, given the large number of individuals connected to Trump who have faced criminal charges or accusations of misconduct. This pattern of legal and ethical challenges extends beyond Trump himself. It encompasses his family members, business associates, and key figures within his administration. From Charles Kushner's criminal past to the pardoning of controversial figures like Peter Navarro, Trump's presidency has been marked by an unusual and often problematic network of allies and supporters. Despite the ongoing legal battles, Trump's political career remains far from over. As he continues his bid for the presidency in 2024, his legal issues are unlikely to be resolved before Election Day. The question remains whether these controversies will influence voters or if Trump will be able to overcome them, as he has done in the past.